welcome back to the RS Jamie YouTube channel. We're starting from a very different setting today. We're starting from my dining room, and the reason being I want to tell you about something new that's coming to my Instagram page and to my YouTube, and that is a new car. So we've got a new arrival, and the reason for this new arrival is two things. One is that currently I'm without a daily driver. So I've got my 911, but I don't like to use it every day because putting 70 miles on it a day for work, it just racks up and it's not cost effective to do that. So that's why I've always had a daily car, such as my Fiesta ST. I had the E-Vocation, I've had the Focus RSs previously, but I'm in a gap at the moment because my Fiesta ST has gone. That's gone back to Ford, and I will be getting another car. Now, it's most likely going to be a Focus ST, the new one, which I'm really excited about, the Mark IV. And that has taken place of the Fiesta ST Performance Edition. So I'm not going to get that car anymore. I'm going for the Focus instead. I was so impressed with the Focus when I saw it that I really, really wanted one. When I had the first ST Fiesta, I was really impressed by the way Ford have made this step forward in terms of the interior quality, the build quality. It's such a leap forward from the Mark III Focus RS. So to see that in a Focus, it was just like, that's the car that I want. And also I think having gone from the white Focus RS, if you followed me back in 2016, to the black one in 2017, it was like one car to another car that's the same but a different colour. It didn't really cut it. So I think going to something different is better. And also I am partly in the hands of Ford in terms of what they choose to offer me. So looking forward to getting the Focus ST. And I'm also on the hunt to get the new Puma as well. But that's not coming till 2020. So I need something in between, and that's where the Focus will come in. Anyway, fast forward or rewind, whichever way you want to look at it, I've got a gap. I needed something, so I thought, I've talked about retro dailies for quite some time on my page, and I thought to myself, now's a great time to get something that's more cost effective, something that I think might be a future classic, and something that also harks back to my youth and is special to me. And that's what I've done, and that's what I've gone for. So many of you that have followed me for some time and followed the stories recently on my Instagram page will know that I used to own a Escort GTI. It actually belonged to my dad originally. My mum and dad got that car in 1997, and where I grew up, I was one of the coolest people in school when we got that car, because the Escort GTI, it just looked amazing. It wasn't the quickest, it was 115 horsepower, it was a 1.8, but it had the RS 2000 style body kit. It had some Escort Cosworth-esque 15-inch 5-spoke wheels, and ours was radiant red. I actually bought that car from my parents in around 2004, and it's probably one of the favourite cars I've ever had. So this story, the way it's leading on, you can kind of tell I might want another Escort GTI, and you'd be wrong, because I haven't got another Escort GTI. Interestingly, at the same time as my mum and dad owning the Escort GTI, we owned another Escort, and this is the one that has the most fond spot in my heart and the one I've gone for. So I learnt to drive in this car. I did lots of things in that car, and I absolutely loved it. And many people might not even know that Ford made this car. So what is it? Well, let's have a look. So just before we do that, and we go outside and look at the car, let me tell you a little bit more about the Escort Mexico from 1995. So it was available in 4 colours. It was available in radiant red, petrol blue, tourmaline green, and ash black. 2 of those colours, as you will probably know, are Escort Cosworth colours, radiant red and ash black. It was available in 3-door and 5-door. Specification wise, it was reasonably low, if I'm being perfectly honest. It was on a par with an LX back in the day, not quite as high a spec as an SI, but it has got some features from the SI, so it's a bit of a mishmash between both cars. It's got unique cloth trim called Mistral Raven, which you'll see shortly. It's almost like a zebra-esque pattern, green and purple, but it's quite cool. Other cars that featured on was RS 1800 Fiesta, which was also a badge that was revived from an earlier Ford model, previously on the Mark II Escort, which I think they made 108 of. And Ford are good at this, you know, bringing back a badge that was previously associated to another car. We've seen it most recently with the Puma, now coming back as an SUV, which I just touched on earlier, which I want. And we also saw it with the RS 500. So originally a Sierra made to homologate British touring cars and world touring cars, and then essentially became a Focus Mark II with matte black wrap. So Ford are good at reinventing the badges of cars. Maybe you can think of some others. Let me know in the comments. But the Mexico was revived, as I said, in 1995. It came standard with 14-inch steel wheels. Might have been upgraded, which you'll see in a moment, which could have been an option at the time. There was also option to have fog lights in the front bumper because it's got the slightly sportier style front bumper, similar to the RS 2000 and SI models and latterly GTI. But mine doesn't have the fog lights in. It's got the same steering wheels and Escort Cosworth, which I'll cover in a moment. Also, a very interesting stereo, but you'll see that in a minute too. So, yeah, what can I say? It's a special car for me personally. I don't think it's a car that's been remembered or particularly revered within the Ford scene, but who knows, maybe it will be in the future. And again, welcome your views on that, but ultimately the only person that knows that will be us in 10 years' time, because history will dictate whether this is viewed as a popular car in the future or even a collector's item, but who knows. Anyway, let's go and check out the car. So this is my Escort Mexico 1995. It is almost identical to the car that I learned to drive in, both radiant red, both 3-door models. This one actually has RS 2000 or SI alloy wheels. It's got a replica version of the original Mexico badge on the wings, beautifully positioned there crooked. They're crooked on both sides as well. I don't think that Ford took much attention to quality control when this car was made, and in actual fact I know that the badges were supplied not actually attached to the car, so the owner probably fitted that, to be honest. It's also got the Escort Mexico badge on the boot. It's an N reg, which is exactly the same reg as my Escort Cosworth, and it is radiant red, as I touched on earlier. The car itself has had 3 owners. The last owner owned it since 2002, and it's got black bumpers, which is so old school. And essentially the car has only travelled 240 miles in the last 5 years, I believe, and I love it. I absolutely love it. It's got the RS boot spoiler, the same as the RS 2000, and it's just out there. I wanted a modern classic that I can do 2 or 3 days a week, going to work in, keep miles off the Porsche. Clearly I can't use the Escort Cosworth for that because, you know, the trouble is with the Escort Cosworth, you park it somewhere, it might not be there when you get back. You're worried about it all the time. I wanted something I didn't have to worry about, and that is what this car is. Now, what does an Escort Mexico from 1995 look like inside? Well, this is it. So we get in, climb on board. So it had white dials, the same as an RS 2000. It had the same steering wheel as an RS 2000 and an Escort Cosworth. Leather rimmed, 3-spoke, albeit a later Escort Cosworth. Had an oval clock, which is the same as any standard Escort. 3 dials. The RDS 2006 stereo system. So same as what you get in a late Sapphire Cosworth, but proper old school. The Escort's moved to the double din stereo actually in the Mark 6, but this one still features the old one. Been updated with an RS Jamie Emoji Fresh air freshener. It has manual wing mirrors and a rather fetching purple and green-esque zebra print-esque interior. So yeah, very budget. It's also got a sunroof, which works, but it's manual wind. Look at it go. Anyway, enough of the sunroof. It's got electric windows and electric tailgate release. Overall, this car, as you can see, has covered 51,000 miles in its life, which really isn't a lot for a car of this age. It's half the mileage that my Escort Cosworth has covered, albeit the condition of it perhaps is not as good. So, you know, we've got some scabbing on the rear arch, as you can just make out there. The boot lid, I think I'm just going to literally throw it in the bin and get a new one. So again, very common, scabbing under the spoiler, but I'm just going to get a new tailgate for it. And there is a little ding on the front wing as well that needs sorting. You can see it here, just there. So I want to be totally honest with this car. I'm not painting out to be anything it's not. I love it. I drove it back home last night, 2 hours from where we picked it up. It drove like a new car. It's absolutely amazing. And it brought back so many memories. The minute I sat in it, I smelt the same smell that I used to smell when I got in my mum's car. And I love it. I'm absolutely in love with it. It's so old school. But the question is, what am I going to do with it? So I plan to use it daily. I plan to potentially update a few parts. So I might change the bumpers to red, change the tailgate, just make it good again. Is it going to be collectible? I don't know. Is it going to be regarded in the Ford fraternity as a collectible, cool car? Probably not, if I'm being perfectly honest. But it's got a huge part. It plays a huge part in my life in terms of my Ford journey. It's something that I'm personally nostalgic about, and therefore I wanted it, so I got it. I love looking at it. It's not everybody's taste, but I think the Mark 6 Escort is the best Escort that Ford ever made. It's a bold statement. It's refined, it's beautiful, and I just love this car. So over the next few weeks and months, I'm going to do some bits to this car, but ultimately I'm just going to enjoy it, which probably sounds ridiculous given the garage that I've got. But I'm in love with this car, and so I'm going to update it, and then I'm going to probably sell it on to somebody that is going to enjoy it the same way I do. So I'm going to vlog essentially the journey of this car over the course of the next few weeks and months. Hope you like the car, but equally it is very much an acquired taste. I've already bought a new reg for the car, so that will be coming. I'll unveil that as soon as it's on the car. And equally, if anybody's got any parts for Mark 6 Escorts, please get in touch, because I am on the hunt for parts to upgrade this car. So get in my DMs, let me know. Anyway, so to close, I wanted to tell you a bit more about the Escort Mexico than what I covered outside. The car itself was built in 1995. It's a very limited run of cars. I don't think it was a particularly good seller at the time. And I think it's a really great little car. And I'll tell you for why. It offers something different. It's economical. It's a 1.6, so it's a low insurance group. I think it's insurance group 7, talking old school. It's 90 horsepower, and it carries the Mexico badge. So whether you consider it an authentic Mexico or not, it's a badged Ford Escort Mexico from the manufacturer. And for me, it offers a great car for somebody entering the Ford scene at a younger age. Perhaps their dad's got an Escort Cosworth, or they're a huge fan of the Ford RS and the heritage, but you know, getting into an Escort Cosworth is very, very difficult. If you wanted something to show, something to become part of the scene, something to come and feel that you were contributing, it's a great car. And I think also in a world where, you know, insurance premiums are high, it's a great starter for somebody for not a lot of money. And I think for me, using it as a daily, there's less to go wrong. It's cheaper to run. It's only done 51,000 miles. It's been reasonably well cared for. It's got some paint. I showed some bits on it, obviously, that aren't perfect. I'm going to get all of those done. But once my Focus ST arrives, I will be putting the car up for sale. So I think it represents a great opportunity for somebody to get into the Ford scene who perhaps isn't, or wants something a bit different. And it's absolutely what it is. You know, RS2000s are out there. But they're selling now for, you know, I've seen a few advertised £8,000 to £10,000. You know, this is nowhere near that. So great car, really, really pleased with it. I'm going to do a few bits on it. I'll cover that on my Instagram and my YouTube. Hope you like it. Hope you like the content. If you do, give us a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.